All right, well, good morning, folks. We'll talk about live with freaking Manny. How you doing this morning?
Hey, brother.
All right, brother.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. I feel you had a long, wonderful weekend. My wife and I were out of town in San Antonio with our kids, and celebrating her birthday weekend. So happy birthday, sweetheart!
Happy birthday, sis.
She's 35 again. So
anyway, it's good, bro.
That's good, brother. But I want to jump right into it because we were a little bit late. We're sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. We're setting up some other stuff as well. But it's been a busy weekend, folks, here in Del Rio sector. But not only Del Rio sector, throughout the southwest border regarding illegal immigration, because there's big news that is happening. Illegal aliens are getting the word about what's going to be happening in May. We're talking about Title 42. The Biden administration made an announcement that they're going to be ending Title 42 at the end of May, which is a huge mistake. And folks, because not only are we having over 7,000 crossings per day here in Del Rio sector alone, which those are conservative numbers because we still have gotaways, right?
Oh man,
we still got gotaways. But folks, if this goes away in May, they're looking at over 18,000 plus per day, equaling 540,000 per month coming in just through this area.
Yeah.
So this is insane.
Man, there is no other word other than treachery, treason, betrayal. Those are some of the terms that come to mind, Manny. It's insanity, madness, but it is also high treason because this is a total violation of the Constitution. It is a total violation, of the concept of sovereignty, of nation sovereignty, of people. This is violating the sovereignty of the American people, of our nation, of our state. And as I was down in Eagle Pass yesterday showing the U.S. Border Patriot audience, and by the way, to our Talk About It Live audience, we are dual casting. We're also live on my U.S. Border Patriot page.
And Old Patrol.
Patrol. Hey, thanks, Gil. Thanks to our one of our other great friends in life here, Gil Maza, out on the West Coast. Thank you for allowing us to broadcast our thoughts, our words, our opinions, and facts, and true facts to the American people, because they need to be aware, man. So many people, Manny, still don't know that this is going on. They don't care. So many, especially in the political class, are sticking their heads in the sand, just to remain in power, just to keep their fingers in the money pile. They are ignoring this and actually actively deceiving, lying to the American people. And that's on both sides of the aisle, folks. It's not just, the socialists that control the Democrat Party, but it is the elitists, the establishment, the globalists that are trying to take over the Republican Party. And Manny, this past few days, I was wondering, I'm a lifelong Republican. Everybody knows that. I'm running as an independent because of the treachery, the corruption within the elite class of the Republican Party. But from what I see, with everything from George Bush, former president, reaching out to illegal aliens and turning his back on angel families, the victims, the survivors of families, of persons that have been killed by illegal aliens, he turned their back on them. I wonder if the grand old party is not turning into the globalist-owned party. Yeah, I said it. The GOP grand old party is in danger, or is becoming the globalist-owned party. And so I'm talking to my fellow conservatives, I'm talking to my fellow patriots. You better fight tooth and nail against the establishment swamp infiltrators. And that's why I'm here, because I'm going to fight in whatever unorthodox way. This is guerrilla warfare, bro.
It is. And I think a lot of people don't realize, years ago when a few years, not years ago, but when Trump was president, and in my opinion, he's still my president anyway. I'm a Trump Republican, and frankly, this is not a partisan issue. Because we have people on both sides of the aisle that are allowing this to happen. Yes. And sad to say, brother. I mean, towards the end of Trump's presidency, the Bushes came out against him, and you wonder why. Why did they come out against a fellow Republican? And Bush Senior, of course, served under Reagan, Vice President. George Bush Jr., of course, Republican president. And then they come out against President Trump, who was the Republican president. And the reason I'm saying this is because Ronald Reagan had his little 11th commandment, right? Don't go against those Republicans. So yet the Bushes did, and other Republicans did as well, including the representative we have here, went against Trump, betrayed President Trump, Tony Gonzalez, he did, and I know we bring up his name every show, but the reason is because we're in CD23. If we were in another district, well, maybe we'd be talking about the representative for that other district.
But this is impacting us.
This is impacting us here in Del Rio, Texas, where we're at, and because of the actions of Tony Gonzalez, illegal immigration has skyrocketed here through this.
He greenlighted it, just along with Biden.
He sure did. And so, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because they're betraying Trump. Trump is not a globalist. America first. He pushes America first policy. The Republicans like Tony Gonzalez, like the Bushes, even the Bushes running for land commissioner, globalists. They're all globalist folks, and what does that mean? They're all for open borders. So this is why you don't see many Republicans coming to the forefront here, coming to the border itself, and saying, no, this isn't enough. I haven't seen anybody, Frank.
Yeah, and I've seen them. The socialist, plant, the infiltrator Tony Gonzalez, which I call him. We're documenting and continue to document and have documented his relationship with LULAC, with the Libre Initiative, which is funded by the Koch brothers, which are open borders, amnesty, cheap labor kind of folks. That's the money grubbing, money hungry, money starved, branch of the Republican Party. They're doing this. They have their reasons, but at the end of the day, it's globalism, Manny, and it's Marxism, and it's about the diminishing, the demise, the destruction of America as we know it. Oh, you might have some outline on a map someday that says, yeah, this is the United States of America, but in essence, but in spirit, but in reality, it will be a ghost of its former self, and it will just be the boundaries to contain the people that these NGOs, these non-government organizations, the United Nations, all the shadowy figures, Soros, and you'll talk about, the Rothschilds and all these other folks that are behind the scenes, folks. But it is a direct threat to our existence as a nation and our existence as free people on the face of the earth. And so that's why I'm saying folks got to get engaged. And I really am concerned about the direction of the Republican Party, man. With everything I'm seeing, Manny, it's transforming, it's morphing right before our eyes from the grand old party to the globalist-owned party, the GOP of George Soros, the GOP of the globalists, and that's a scary thing. And so, yeah, if you're ticked off out there, you're listening to what I'm saying, wake the beat up. You need to wake up, folks. Get your heads out of the sand and elsewhere, and get engaged in the fight. And this is about greed. This is about lust for power. But more than that, Manny, and that's evil enough as it is also about the perversion of women and children in the eyes of God, and about the desecration of their God-intended roles. And so I've been talking with some friends and visitors, et cetera, et cetera. We are very concerned, and that's why we're doing these symposiums and rallies late last year, early last year, when we knew that the women, children, and yes, men were going to fall into the clutches of just not the cartels, not just those bloody demons that are running around in Mexico and Central South America, throughout the world. They even have their tentacles into America. But these women, children, and men were going to fall into the hands of the perverted lusters, the perverted people that want human bodies, bro. They want for fleshly, carnal desires, for the sex trade, for human slavery. That's an affront to God, bro. It's an insult to God. It offends the heart of God, and it saddens the heart of God. And so, as believers in the one true God, we should be outraged at this. And we should also engage in the fight. And what a shame on these non-government organizations that, under the name of Christ, are aiding and abetting. They're a part of the facilitation of the movement, the resettlement of women and children. And a lot of them, bro, they disappear because they fall into the clutches of the sex traders.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sorry, Greg, as we're going along, a lot of people are commenting on what is happening here as well. And looking at the Open Patrol comments as well, a lot of these former agents and present agents, present working agents are upset about all this, folks. I mean, I was talking to a lot of agents over this past weekend, Frank, and the stress, the amount of stress that is upon them right now is just too much for a lot of them to take. Some that were going to mandatory retirement, waiting to go to mandatory at the age of 57, are jumping ship now, brother.
Popping smoke, man, bailing out.
And they can't take it anymore. It's just too much. And it's not that they can't take the work. A lot of them are upset because we put on this badge to defend this nation, to defend the Constitution, and there's a commander-in-chief, right, who is in office, who is not defending the Constitution himself. He's violating the Constitution.
Yes.
And so my opinion is, when does it happen? When does it happen? When people stand up, especially conservatives, Republicans that are there in the Capitol Hill, that are there in
D.C., the halls of power.
When do they stand up and finally say, "Hey, this guy needs to"? He's basically dumping on the Constitution, man. When are they going to get up and say something? I saw Tucker Carlson, last night or the night before, talking about invoking the 25th Amendment. Is that going to happen? I mean,
Well, so I tell you what, bro. If I was elected, I would not be a facilitator. I would not turn into Tony the Transporter. I would certainly not have allowed. I would have said no to DHS Mayorga asking for Laughlin Air Force Base to be used to fly illegal aliens out. I would have said, hell no, this is our country. Yeah. We're not going to pervert the mission of that air base. It is a facility to train America's air warriors. Yeah. The next generation of air warriors, and it was perverted, and it was a slap in the face of veterans, of their families, those that died in service, to protect, to protect that, that ongoing dynamic of our national security, that we must train warriors. And so Tony Gonzalez did that. He's in bed with the NGOs, etc. So if I were in Congress, Manny, I would have said no to that. I would not be, floating legislation to rename buildings and to protect, green speckled lizards and all this other stuff. I would be floating legislation, bro, that would try to insulate, Border Patrol, ICE, DHS, insulate them from these crazy executive orders. And look, some people say, well, executive orders are useful tools, that we can, a Republican president uses and a Democrat. Look, guys, this is the extreme. When you allow that to continue, look at what's happening. Yeah. So I would float that legislation. And shame on Tony Gonzalez and any other Republican congressman that has not already done that, bro. Yeah. I mean, that's a no-brainer. We've got to set aside, the present political gains and look at the long game. Look at the end goal here. It's all a moot point. If we don't have a country, it's all a moot point. And some would already say we have already lost our sovereignty. We have already ceased being a country in the strictest, most technical terms. But these guys need to get off their butts. They need to get off the campaign trails. They need to get out from in front of the camera with all these photo ops. They need to put bury their heads in the legislative process and protect our frontliners, insulate them from this treachery. They're being used, in a political war, in a political chess game. So that's the role of legislators in all of this, hyperventilating and bloviating and, just all this pandering about, how wrong, how bad, and how sick and evil it is. Do something about it, in that specific role. And then they got to use the bully pulpit, bro. They need to be calling it out. Yeah. They need to be, bringing, instead of going up in D.C. and, just standing in front of this camera, let's go look for Nancy Pelosi. Let's get her in front of a camera. Let's get her, to talk about this. Let's show her what is happening in America. They ignore it, bro. They spend too much time, at their rich parties and at their, backroom deal-making rooms. And so Americans got to be sick, man. I mean, they got to be fed up with this. I see it in my comments, man. Oh, yeah. It's sad. They are so frustrated, man. And they're angry, rightfully so. We just need to be careful, people. Look, don't allow hate, don't allow murder to gain a foothold in your heart. Righteous indignations, A-OK. The Lord turned over the tables in the temple, and He drew the vendors out, right? He drove them out. So righteous indignation, but do not allow the enemy a foothold into your heart, into your mind. We have got to be sober-minded, is what the Word of God says. We've got to, put on the armor of light. We have the mind of Christ, and so we need to be methodical, strategic, and certainly active, and get off the sidelines and get engaged.
That's one of the hard things as well. This past week I was a couple weeks ago I was in DC training Border Patrol chaplains. So it's awesome.
Nice.
I still have a connection. To Border Patrol chaplaincy and with this organization that I'm with, and so I get to go over there and instruct. And one of the things that we talked about, was as chaplains, in Border Patrol is helping our agents and our families through this time of stress and the stressful situations with all this, there's been nothing like it, and not being, stressed out yourself, that's the key, because there's mandatory overtime, so now agents are away from their families a lot more. The family structure is in many areas is breaking down. Some spouses are moving back home to their home states because they're not, been able to spend any time with their husbands. They don't have the help that they need. Or not just husbands, but also wives. There's female organizations as well. But a lot of people are, the family
causing stress.
Yeah, it's causing a lot of stress. We just had a suicide a couple days ago in Yuma. Agent committed suicide. This is and then the lack of confidence now that is in leadership, brother. BP leadership, is higher. The lack of confidence is a lot higher now than it's ever been because they don't see any way out of this. Since the fiscal year, which started in September, over 1 million illegal aliens, brother, have been apprehended. Over 1 million, and that doesn't. Of course, I always throw this number out there. That doesn't include the gotaways.
Yeah.
And so the number of, and so now they're saying that through this area alone, that over 540,000 a month may be coming through here. And it's sad to say, what ends up happening is when Title 42 is removed, now these illegal aliens get to remain in the United States while they wait for their trials, right? Wait for the silent hearings. And how many show up to their silent hearing? Almost zero, folks. Almost zero show up to their silent hearings. And so it's been well known, it's been documented that many of these illegal aliens don't show up to their silent hearings. And so you get over 540,000 a month coming through this area. And not only that, but my sources also tell me, Frank, that we have over almost 40,000 on the other side over here previously removed under Title 42, waiting for it to be removed just so they can be released.
Yeah. All you got to do, folks, is go, just look it up real quick. Just Border Patrol Southwestern Border apprehensions, or statistics, U.S. Border Patrol Southwestern Border, and it's going to take you. It's of course, it's government's not totally user friendly, but you go to that site and they'll say it'll direct you to the right place, and you will see, folks, that about half of the apprehensions last fiscal year, Manny, were Mexicans who were returned to Mexico under Title 42. And some Central Americans who were removed from the country under Title 42. Everybody's making a big deal, but look, just wrap your head around this. That about 2 million people were apprehended last year. About half of those were returned because Title 42. Right. So one thing is to how many people were caught and how many people were returned, and half of those were returned. Well, under the pending removal, non-renewal of Title 42, those half would have stayed in the country. So now, folks, and I saw yesterday, Mexicans were already coming across. In the past, Mexicans didn't bother turning themselves in as much because they knew they were going to be returned, and so those were a lot of the getaways, the walk-arounds, exactly, the wild car chases and everything. But now, maybe this couple of guys that I spoke with yesterday, they didn't know that. It's not going to go into effect. The lifting or the non-renewal of Title 42 will not go into effect until May. Right. So they walked in, turned themselves in. They're probably going to get returned. But at some point,
so they'll just go back and they'll wait.
They'll just go back and wait a month or 2 months, whatever. And part of what's going on too, man, is already talking to agents. So when let's say 50 people get caught, and 25 of those were Mexicans. So what the standing orders, the SOP per se, the procedure was that the Mexicans got dealt with right off the bat.
Right.
That just get them out. Why? Because it's just a quick return to Mexico, and that way they would buy a little bit of time to process the Middle Easterners and the Eastern Europeans and the former Russians that are coming across. Of course, the Haitians, Venezuelans, South Americans, etc. but that would buy them a little bit of time. Now, folks, they're not going to have that, time. They're not going to, single out the Mexicans and those Central Americans and return them immediately. They're all going to have to get processed because they're all going to get released.
Yeah.
And so, if the system was already strained, it was already at the breaking point. It's smashed, bro. It's like hope smash.
Yeah, like I'm getting word right now, Frank, that they're seeing a lot of Mexicans coming through because it's it was just a little bit of that Title 42 is going to be lifted here in April, and now some Mexicans are coming across, and they're saying they're getting over Jewish are pouring in as well.
And so that's ka-ching, man. That's money, bro.
Yeah.
That's money for these NGOs here in this district. We have two major unaccompanied child centers. One down in Carrizo Springs that is run by Baptist Child and Family Services, and another one in Pecos, Texas, which is Reeves County, which is run by Endeavors. And there you go, Endeavors. Tony Gonzalez's best friend. Remember, his office is in his San Antonio office is in the Endeavors facility. And so this guy who's running around with LULAC, the Libre Initiative, George Soros, has got to be, just drooling and salivating at the money that's going to get skimmed off. And eventually he'll make his way into his pocket. It's the way it is. It's the way it works. That's why these politicians do that.
And I'm going to share something that really bothers me about all this too, Frank, is that not only did Tony Gonzalez petition the Biden administration, but the chief of the works went to Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, Chief Ortiz. Come on, Raul. What the heck, brother?
And like I've said before, it's very hard for me to criticize him because I've known him for many years, and I hate doing it. I really, really hate doing it. But folks, that's one of the big problems that we have now is that even the leadership, it's confusing to a lot of the agents. Okay, we have Tony Gonzalez coming over here on the border talking about border enforcement, but yet he's tied into the NGOs who are furthering illegal immigration. He's tied into he's petitioned the Biden administration to fly out illegal aliens out of Laughlin. We have former Border Patrol personnel that have monies in in a lot of these transportation.
Invested in these companies. They're going to work for the NGOs.
And so it's frustrating. Then you have our leadership, going and asking congressmen to, help basically further the entry of these illegal aliens. Well, so you wonder why these agents are having a tough time, bro. You wonder why these agents are confused and stressed out.
They're not seeing leadership, bro.
No,
they're not seeing leadership. Look, Rodney Scott will forever go down in the annals of Border Patrol lore, Border Patrol history as a guy who stood up, bro.
Yeah.
Who stood up to the Biden administration. Yeah, he stepped out. He stepped out with a pension like we do.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more than the rest of us, but hey. But he took a moral stand. He took a courageous stand, and he stood on his principles, man. And that was a message to the agents. Yeah. And so you get the two types of leadership: the morally courageous and the the morally challenged.
Yeah.
It's
hard to say.
The troops would gravitate towards the courageous and. Somebody would say, Manny, well, what do you expect them to do? Look, you make a stand at this point, because of the danger, the imminent. Now, it's not even a threat anymore, brother. I mean, the active invasion of our country. This is a time for. Somebody said it rather crass. Everybody talks patriot stuff until it's time to do patriot crap.
Yeah.
And so, that has several nuances of meaning there, folks. What I'm talking about is, at this point, you need to take a stand, and you need to get involved, and you need to make some decisions that lead to actions, such as, my jumping into the race, bro. Hey, people have criticized me, people have condemned me, been freaking slammed or whatever, but it's the right thing to do. We have a wolf in the hen house, and it's my job to go in there and try to get rid of the wolf. Yeah. Secure these 823 miles of border. Be a constant thorn in the side of Nancy Pelosi, Biden, and the socialist globalists that are trying to destroy our country. Be a constant thorn in their side, and not roll over, not pull down your pants and bend over like Tony Gonzalez did.
And who knows, right? And who knows? It may also give current CBP leadership, will encourage them to get the additional fortitude, to stand up to this administration as well, with some of the, congressmen backing them, or, but what's sad is, Frank, is that we see, I love the Republican Party, but I see a lot of them just talking, on the news and not really doing anything about it. There's some bills introduced here, here's some bills introduced there, but, you don't see them coming down here and saying, no, this has to stop. This has to stop. I mean, folks, you think we've been invaded now. Once this Title 42 is lifted, folks, it's going to, like Chief Artie Scott's own word, it's going to be a tsunami. It's going to be a tsunami of illegal aliens coming through here, folks. So, we're already getting reports of, people finding illegal aliens here in their carports, in their backyards, trying to use their facilities, trying to enter into people's homes over here, and right now it's in a little isolated area per se, but it's going to start to spread. We got a lot of illegal aliens walking around here that never walked around here before, holding up signs,
asking for money and stuff. I drove by one of the stores. They're all bundled up. It looks like a scene out of Houston or Austin on our sidewalks out here, bro, where they're just crashing out. Let me tell you something. So people would say, look, the Republicans are talking. They're saying that. So that's. But are they floating legislation? Like one senator from this state, Cruz, floated a bill to create 13 new ports of entry to process faster. Yeah. Senator Cornyn and Tony Gonzalez floated a bill to build at least four new asylum mega processing centers to quadruple the speed of these people coming to the country. That's not the kind of action we need. That's not what we're talking about, bro.
Now they want to hire civilians, right?
To process. They just want to speed up the process. Yeah. We need to, legislators legislate. They make laws, and they use their influence, and they talk. So okay, they're all talking. They're all jabbing in front of the cameras. They're coming down and taking pictures in front of the wall and on the border, and they can go say, "Hey, I dipped my pinky in the river here. Look at me, how brave and valiant I am." Yeah. Freaking float legislation that tackles the issues, insulate, remove. Hey, it might not happen. It might not get voted. I might not make it past the first stage. But you got to float the legislation, because that's what legislators do. Now, we're not even talking about a whole other component, Manny, of what Americans can do and stuff. And I don't want to get into that, bro, because see, that is those waters, folks, look, we've been down that path before. It was necessary. Yeah. And so it is a responsibility of our elected officials to do something up front, because the American people, Texans, Tejanos living in these border regions are freaking fed up with this. And so Governor Abbott and Dan Patrick, they better do something about this, bro. And to all the sheriffs up and down, this is a drastic times require drastic measures. Hold these people. Hey, we're overstepping the federal bounds and getting to federal territory. Look, man, whenever your house, I'll use this imagery here, Manny. We have police in this country. Right. So normally, most people, when somebody's breaking in, they call the police. Right. They call the police because they want the government official, the agents of the state, to deal with that problem. Why? Because what's the alternative? The alternative is either you're going to let them come into your house and you're just going to roll over, curl up, stick your thumb in your mouth, and just let them do whatever they want to do to you, to your children, and to your spouse. Or you're going to freaking defend yourself, defend your family, defend your home. That's the alternative, bro. Yeah. And so that's why I'm saying, elected officials, you better do something concrete. Yesterday when I went down there, bro, much to do, much hoopla about the border fence at Abbott's building and the concertina wire. Man, we walked through freaking gaps down there where you can march armies across. Oh yeah. I mean, and then we went and I showed my guests down here the containers. 15 of them. 20 of them, maybe, overseas containers, for a span of 1,253 miles of border, concertina wire for maybe combined down here, half a mile perhaps, and the steel wall for another mile or something. Come on, man. There's a time for action. These people are crossing right before your eyes, literally, bro. We got our National Guard troops on the ground. They're watching them walk up, and they're just right there. And then, as I saw yesterday, man, they got him there, Border Patrol shows up, and I hate to criticize directly, but I'm just gonna say this, man. They go right to their phones. You know, you got freaking 10, 15, 20 people standing by. You got 2 agents, Border Patrol agents dealing with it. And what are our troops doing? And I got it on video. I didn't throw it up, although some of my video down there may have inadvertently caught some of that. But they go to their phones and see what's going on social media, bro. Or maybe they're following us.
Maybe,
right?
who knows? Or some guys sending us some information. I mean, you know.
Yeah, so we got to be careful. But see, and as I told the guests yesterday, that causes an air of complacency, Manny. And in law enforcement, national security, private security, you know, security guards and stuff, complacency kills.
It does, bro, because within those groups, we can't forget. And see, that's the problem with all these leftists and liberals and rhinos. They think that a lot of these people coming over here, bro, have no criminal background in their country of origin.
They just want to work.
Yeah, they just want to work and make a new way of life. Some are running. You know, the sex offender arrests have gone up over 2,400% here in our area. We got you see the reports all the time. I get texts. You know, hey, we apprehended a guy wanted for murder who had murdered here in the United States, but tried to come back and see if he could get released. You know, so they are able to do some checks, you know. So, but folks, there's a lot of people that are coming through here, and once those, and some of them may be looking for that complacent agent, that complacent National Guard, that complacent DPS trooper, knowing that once they get on the radio and to do a background investigation or background check on one of these illegal aliens, that's his cue. That's his or her cue to try to run or try to attack or try to kill or
I found down there, Manny, all over the place, ID cards, Mexican, Venezuelan, Nicaragua, from all over, bro. And those ID cards from Mexico say, you know, what state, what country they're from. And I also got the travel visas, which allow basically these people to travel through Mexico. And why do they ditch them, bro? Why do they ditch them? A, because they want a clean slate in America. B, because they don't want any identifiers on them. You know, they want to use a fake name or something, and they're all over the place down there. It's a terrible situation, but you know. So people would say, well, what can you do? Look, I told you what I'd do as congressman. I'd also band up together with other, vocal, active people that want to do something about, about this issue concretely. We need to be pushing, as legislators, we represent our states as congressmen. We need to be, pushing on our state reps and our sheriffs, man. I mean, these are areas within our district. We can't take off this hands-off approach to it all. These times demand proactive warrior statesmen. Right. Not a bunch of panderers that want business as usual, keep it nice, Reagan's 11th commandment, talk nice about everybody, treat everybody else nice, as they are, pillaging the banks, robbing, they're freaking, destroying our country. And then the other thing, for all these, folks that ladies groups and stuff, you want to cook nice baked cookies, great, bake your cookies, show your appreciation, good stuff, nice stuff. But look, these people are coming into your communities. They're dumping them by the busload, by the plane load. Yesterday I got footage. I didn't throw it up, but I got video tap. I saw a white van all patched up, like it's barely falling apart, bro. Drive right up to the Valverde Border Humanitarian Coalition. I got it on video, and about 8, 9, 10 people get in there as the executive director is talking to the driver. It's a smuggling load. That's what we would look for, was those high capacity.
But now it's legal. They don't have to work.
They pull up right up. It wasn't a big luxury bus. It was not a Greyhound bus. It was not even the nice black Mercedes van that they got there or anything, bro. It was a rinky-dink, patched up Ford Econoline van that drove
this is what I like to see with these NGOs. The mayors can refuse to lease city buildings to these NGOs. You got the governor who can revoke or at least rescind their licenses until they're vetted, so they can stop operating.
And people would say, man, oh my God, they're all over town and stuff. Look, that's why they've put together this well-oiled machine, bro. They want to flush it down the freaking sewer line as fast as you can. Out of sight, out of mind. Just get them out. That's why they did with the Haitians last year, bro, where they freaking brought in Coast Guard planes and, our hardware, our military, resources and DHS resources, because Coast Guard's under DHS.
Take it away from rescue plans and
Yeah, for
firefighting.
patrolling.
Yeah.
These were, I think, were some of the hurricane. Maybe they were the Hurricane Hunter. I don't know. But there were Coast Guard planes. They were clearly marked. I got my videos out there. Go look. Some of you guys that have sharper eyes can go see what kind of planes they were, etc. I'll get some tow numbers. Anyways, they were flying them out as quick as they could, Manny, because it's out of sight, out of mind. But so let me get back on this. What I was saying earlier. So what can people do? Well, they're already coming in by the boatload. They're hiring high transportation buses. We got this rinky-dink van showing up to pick people up, but they're going to your community.
Yeah.
Why aren't Americans on that side over there? Look, they're coming in, guys. People ask, why don't they just turn them back? They're at the river. Look, folks, I mean, we're not going to get down into what the Biden administration done, how they tied the hands of our first responders, our Border Patrol, etc. That's why they're not returning them. The other thing is, once they land in your community, because they're coming, and now with Title 42 getting lifted up, they're going to come by the millions. So what conservatives need to do is you need to get ready for that. I haven't heard of anybody out there, Randy. None of these, let's make cookie clubs, people, saying, we're going to take pamphlets with
Right.
what is conservative values, what are conservative values, and what are socialist values. They're not taking information saying, you're here, hey, you made it. You should know that not everybody agrees with that, because we are a country of law and order. We believe in the rule of law. We believe that the naturalization process is a controlled process. You should know that a lot of people don't agree with the way and number of people that are coming in. But now that you're here, let us tell you about America's founding principles. Let us tell you about our Constitution. Let us tell you about the Federalist Paper. Let us tell you about how our nation came to be and how it became this beacon of hope and the greatest nation on the face of the earth, the city on a shining hill. And why is it that you came to America? Let me tell you what makes America great and how you can contribute now that you're here. Now, people may have, hell, kick them back, get them out of here. Look, they're coming, folks. They are coming. What are you doing? What are you doing? Republican women's clubs and TFRW and all these other, parties. What are you doing other than, wringing your hands and having your posh parties and freaking, inviting politicians to come over so you can take your pictures? And look at who I took a picture with tonight as the house burns down around your ears, man. You're standing in a living room of a burning house, and you want to go take pictures and bake cookies.
And it's hard,
Freaking pathetic, bro. That's
hard,
pathetic.
It's hard, I know a lot of people want to remain faithful to the party, but it's not about the party anymore, folks. We need to put people in office. If it's a Republican, that's a conservative Republican that's doing a good job, then yes, vet him. But if he's a rhino, get him out of it. Get him out of there, because they're going to continue to hurt the country.
And they're all gloating, man. These freaking rhinos.
And it's and folks. This, right now, American sovereignty is in danger. You got a guy in the White House right now who's talking about regime change. The
New World Order.
The New World Order. Who's even talking about responding with chemical weapons in kind if Russia uses chemical weapons, folks. And then we got we're looking at over a million coming. That have come in since the fiscal year through this area. So and then if the Title 42 gets lifted, even more. And then who pays for all this? So is the taxpayer. Yeah. And you got a lot of people over here say, well, this country is built on immigrants. Yeah, but it was legal immigration. Yeah. But we're not that country anymore that we were back in the 20s and the early 90s. We needed there. Yeah, and now we're a America is a beacon of hope to a lot of people. Why do you think they're flooding over here by the thousands every single day? Illegal aliens flooding by the thousands every single day because we're a beacon of hope over here. You don't see anybody going to Mexico from here. You don't see anybody going to Central America from here. And folks, but I appreciate a lot of these groups that are out there, Frank, that are trying to encourage voting and things like that. But you also have to encourage and go for the right person, the right candidates. Folks, or else this country is lost.
Yeah, it's look, folks. Some people will say, well, they're coming, for freedom, but they're coming for the freebies. Yeah,
because their monies don't stay here, Frank. A lot of people don't realize that. All their money goes back south.
Yeah, they'll send it back to family. And now with what's going on, there's Biden administration, bro, that money is going to go south to get them up here as quick as they can.
Well,
To fund their transportation.
look at that video you posted, right? I was gonna play a little bit of it. That video you posted, right? That family comes across the river, right? Immediately, what happens? They get on their phone. Hey, we're here. Come, maybe I don't know what they're saying. Maybe come through here. So let me see if I can put up a little bit here, and you can just here. I'm gonna go over here a little bit. Oh, were they? Let me rewind a little bit. I'm trying to rewind a little bit more. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So they just came through the river, right? Let me see.
We're walking out, and that's a great example right there, Manny, of how there's concertina wire, but look, you just walk down the side of it, and there's a gap. You can drive a herd of cattle through there, bro. And,
Right.
and they're coming across by like herds, like hordes. They're coming across here, man.
And immediately.
Sorry for my audience, you can't see the video.
Oh yeah, and immediately they get on the phone, right? Immediately they get on the phone,
there.
and they're calling their family
Tears
members.
of joy, man.
Yeah, and those don't look like cheap phones anyway.
Well, and guess what? I got a picture yesterday, man, at the NGO where ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, is giving them phones. This guy's standing there with a phone. I say, hey, is that an iPhone? And he says, no, Samsung. And I asked him in Spanish, did you buy it? No, the government gave it to me. They are giving them phones.
Yeah, we got reports. We got reports a few weeks ago
From
that
insiders that were saying
insiders were telling us that they were giving not only phones, but they're giving them money.
Yeah.
When I was traveling to DC, last week, and there was a couple of Cubans, military-age Cuban males on the plane with me, right? That had printed out itineraries, Frank, printed out a step-by-step instructions on what to do, and they had some money in that envelope as well, from what I saw. I don't know if it was their money they pulled out of their pocket because I wasn't there. Maybe they put it in there. So one of those. But we got reports that they were getting money from these NGOs. So who's to know?
Yeah. So let me real quick to the audience that's watching. Hey, you guys. I just want to say this real quick. Go to the internet, look up the contact number for Representative Tony Gonzalez in Texas, Congressional District 23. And how about you all flood his offices today with phone calls and tell him you're displeased. Tell him that you will remember in November. You're going to sign my petition. You're going to get me into office, and you're going to fire Tony in November. Call him up. El Paso. He's got an office at Fort Stockton right here in Del Rio. He's got a few more. Go to the Tony Gonzalez internet site online. Get his number for the offices and tell him, Tony, we're going to fire you. We're going to hire Frank. You're going to remember in November. And that real quick, what I'm doing in order to do that, I got to get on this. I got to get your name. If you're in Congressional District 23 and you're a registered voter in Congressional District 23, this is the petition form. It's got to be signed in person. Sorry, no electronic signature. Sorry, no folks from Nebraska, Oklahoma, Maine, or anywhere else. Yeah. It's got to be Texas Congressional District 23. You're registered to vote in one of the 29 counties in this district, and you did not vote in the March 2022 primary. That's critical. You registered to vote, but did not vote in this most recent March 2022 primary in Congressional District 23. Those are the signatures I need. Look, I'll go where I can. Fuel, considerations, of course. But if you can get together, each sheet contains 10 people. If you can get them together, instant message me. We can get you the forms one way or another. They're online. You can download them, etc. But get a hold of me. But I need those signatures because other than that, Manny, if I don't get 500 good, legible, credible, or not, but what am I trying to say? 500 legitimate, signatures from registered voters. It's a moot point.
Yeah,
it's a moot point.
And
Tony Gonzalez will continue. Will run. He'll face a slight challenge from the Democrat. But even that guy's not getting any support from his own fellow Democrats. Why? Because they have an excellent Democrat right now named Tony Gonzalez, who is doing everything he can. He's voting with Nancy Pelosi. He's aiding and abetting this invasion. He's in bed with the NGOs. He's flying them out of a military airbase.
He's connected to George Soros.
Yeah, man. Why are they gonna boot him out? Replace him with a Democrat that might not be as effective as the infiltrator Rhino is already being. And so anyways, folks, if I don't get those 500 signatures minimum, it's a moot point. And at that point, all I can say is, well, look, hey, I went on, I asked for help, I asked for volunteers, I asked for people to sign the petition, I asked for donations and support.
Folks, and don't let the party get in, get in the way. The Republican Party,
Yeah.
get in the way of putting the right person in office. I mean, we've seen that happen already. We had before Tony Gonzalez, we had Will Hurd in there.
Jeez.
And then the first flag should have been with Tony Gonzalez is he was
Endorsed by
by
Will
Will Hurd. That should have been the first flag for a lot of people. Unfortunately, it wasn't. But and then of course, him voting for the January 6th commission as soon as he got into office. So I mean, betrayed President Trump
What
right
a
away.
traitor, man.
It's incredible, and all you got to do is go look at their voting record. I mean, you can see it. You can it's there for everybody to see. It just people don't go and vet their candidates, Frank.
Well, and you know what? That's why people talk about the rhinos and the elephant and the jackass of the the Democrat Party. We got our ostriches too, bro.
Yeah.
And these are people that are sticking their hand in the sand and elsewhere. Why? Because they want the status quo. They want business as usual. What I heard, I was in San Antonio recently. What I heard, bro, is Tony brings in a lot of money. He's paying the Bexar County Republican Party. He's keeping them afloat. If Tony Gonzalez wasn't donating to the Republican Party of Bexar County, it would be belly up, legs up, dead like a cockroach. Well, maybe that cockroach over there needs to die because there's some very corrupt and sold out establishment folks in the Bexar County Republican Party.
Yeah.
They need to get bumped out so that we can get some real patriot Americans into that party and in control of that party so that they can properly help conservatives that are going to fight for America. But unfortunately, right now, a lot of the people that are in Bexar County, the elitist or whatever, it's all about the money. And I heard it, bro, firsthand. Well, he brings in a lot of money for the party. Well, hell, you're going to sell your soul for money. Good luck spending it in socialist, communist America.
Yeah, but if we look at what the things that money may be going to, Frank, I mean, these NGOs, he supports them. I mean, he's come out publicly,
Yep.
and he's voiced his support for these NGOs. So a lot of those tax dollars, folks, should be going to those NGOs, and you who are donating or giving money to Tony Gonzalez and programs that he has supported. Could be helping with the furtherance of illegal immigration and contributing to this problem. All he's done is encouraged illegal immigration. You look and then you look at these other programs that he's a part of, these other organizations he's a part of, folks, and they do nothing good for America.
Yeah, and some of those, the Inter-Parliamentary Alliance on China, the Humpty Dumpty Institute, and people are going to say the Humpty Dumpty Institute. Yeah, I got a fact sheet here, which we're going to throw up right here on Tony Gonzalez, his Ukraine trip. Get it, bro. He goes to the Ukraine last year, and it's funded by this organization called the Humpty Dumpty Institute. So I started researching. What the heck is that even real? It's real. They filed the form 990, which is an IRS form.
Yeah.
They're a real organization. But
Wow.
as you start digging into them, bro, they got ties to the Clintons, to the Epstein brothers, Jeffrey Epstein, human trafficker, a child pedophile kind of guy, and so. Tony Gonzalez took a trip to the Ukraine August of last year, funded by the Humpty Dumpty Institute. And I got the documents straight out of the clerk of the House of Representatives
Wow.
that proves that he was funded by this shadowy group. And they're all in bed with NATO, and it's all part of the globalists. That's why I'm saying, bro, Tony Gonzalez is at the forefront. And you guys need to be aware of this, of transforming the grand old party into the globalist-owned party, GOP. That's what's happening. Yeah. You guys better wake up. Yeah. You take so much pride in the brand, in the name, but there's no principles. They've all crumbled. And that's a sickening thing, bro. Yeah. And so that's why, I decided to run as an independent. I'm going to do what I can because I believe in the platform of the Republican Party. It's a great platform.
I do too.
It's God-centric. But they look at it and they say, yeah, it's just toilet paper or what, and they throw out the platform, much like they've thrown out the Constitution, bro.
And it's just like you got a lot of these, I've kind of equated with a lot of these false teachers that you have out there preaching,
Yep.
The so-called, preaching their versions of the scriptures. You go to Bible college, you go to, in my case, yeshiva, and you go to universities and seminary, and you learn basically the same thing, but then you come out, and it depends on what you want.
Yeah.
So some of them preach prosperity, some of them preach, health and wealth and all this other stuff. And then you got others who are preaching doctrinal truths. But a lot of those preachers that are preaching doctrinal truths, their congregations are really, really small. They're shriveling up. But yet you got these guys that are preaching all this prosperity, health, and wealth, and they're
tickling the ears,
tickling the ears, and they're flooded with people. It's almost the same concept. The Republican Party, in my personal opinion, the platform is God centered. It's pro-life, it's pro-God, pro-Israel,
Pro-border security,
pro-border
national security.
yes, pro-constitution, and yet we got a lot of these Republicans these rhinos that are in bed with Democrats. Because one thing that should also clue you in is why aren't the Democrats coming against people like Tony Gonzalez or other rhinos that are around the border area?
Unit Party.
Yes. Yeah, because
Establishment. They're all part of the globalist movement.
they're all part of the globalist movement, and if we keep people in office like that, folks, it's only going to get worse, because we see that the Democratic Party is they're overt in their corruption.
Jeez.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean they're just saying to the world, and I got an email here, but it's a press release. It's out there. You can go look for it. It's called the Statement of U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Chris Magnus concerning Title 42. And so all you got to do is look for that. Just look Title 42, Chris Magnus, or CBP. You'll find it. And bro, it outlines. There's bullet point after bullet point after bullet point of how they're going to move resources, how they're going to allocate personnel, how they're going to direct money to just facilitate, expedite this invasion, bro. That's crazy. It's like, oh my God. I mean, I cannot find a comparison in human history other than one nation invading another nation. Let's just take any war in Europe or whatever, where the government of that nation says, yeah, we know you're coming in. We know you want to take over. We know that you want to eradicate our name and our way of life. And so we're going to make it easier for you to be able to do that. We're going to get our own people to help you move along and to get into the heartland of our country. And so that way you can take it over and you can disrupt it and change it and forever erase the memory of a free America from the face of the earth, bro, from human history. I'll say, in the mid, in the 2020s, America's decline came about this way because a man named Joe Biden became the president. And the American people saw and stood by, some of them, as he did this XXXX to let it happen. And at that time, members of the opposing party, Republicans, worked with him hand in hand to make that happen.
Yeah. And it's a sad state of affairs, Frank. We look at also the peripheral effects of this. Title 42 goes away in May. Is not only will we get flooded with illegal immigration, but folks, right now, Texas leads the nation in human sex trafficking, right? This Title 42 goes away, there's going to be a flood of human sex trafficking going on. There's going to be a flood of children being used, and abused for sex trafficking. Folks, it's going to have ramifications like you will not believe. And this is only this is less than a month away, Frank. Less than a month away a little over a month away that we're going to, this could effectually, destroy.
And so everybody needs to be on the horns to their senator. You need to be calling your senators, man. You need to be calling your representatives. You need to be making as big a stink as you can with them. They've got to move, heaven and earth to not let this happen. And for you border citizens, and not just the border anymore, man, because what happens in the border doesn't stay on the border.
Yep.
You folks in the Carolinas and Oklahoma, all over the country, you are starting to see this. And so we got, thank God, some folks down in like Oscar Blue and some others that are out there reporting from Mexico itself as this movement is coming up.
Who says that over 60,000 right now are waiting to come across, right?
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
This is the tip of the iceberg.
Once the word, like these folks, they cross the river, immediately get on the horn. We made it.
Come through here.
Yeah, and so once you get the folks that were getting turned back, about half of the apprehensions, the Mexicans and some of these Central Americans, bro, it's gonna be a free for all. It's gonna be free for all, and it's sad I've talked to plenty of people that say, man, my wife, my family, I live in Mexico. I'm an American citizen. I'm trying to bring over my wife. I'm trying to do it, or spouse, do it the legal way, but we have to live over there because they can't come over. And it's very, it's angering, maddening, frustrating for these people to see all these people just walking across. They try to do it the right legal way, and everybody else is just coming in, and then, I don't blame him for being angry, bro.
I don't blame them either. And I was talking to some CBP officers a few weeks ago who work interviewing asylum seekers, and they've been dealing with asylum seekers for much of their career, and for the majority, a little bit back when seeking asylum was either you're being persecuted in your country of origin for your religion, for your race, or political affiliation, and not anymore. It's like I could be afraid of my grandmother, that she's gonna hit me with her chancla, and now I got to seek asylum from her. It's getting that ludicrous. I'm being exaggerated, but it's that ludicrous because some of these officers I was talking to, Frank, they were telling me these people do not qualify.
Yeah, they're being coached. They're being told what to say. But you hit something real quick, and I know we're running. But let me just say it. It's sad, bro. It's sad how we have right now, and it's something you said that triggered this in me. But we have government employees and other people living in this country that they're still having to live under mandates, bro.
Yeah.
They're still getting vaccinated, mandated. You want your job, get the job. That's still going on. There's some places, these guests that I had with me yesterday from Florida, they're like, what's up with all these masks down here in Texas?
Texas.
In Texas, bro, we're done illegal passing. Look, everybody's wearing masks down here. And they're from Florida, bro. And it's, I asked them, what do people say about Texas? Texas is in trouble.
Yeah.
Texas is in trouble. They know it. They see it. We asked them some other questions about our governor, et cetera, man. And not good things to say, but they're all concerned, bro, because Texas, they know it has those huge 38 electoral college votes, man.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what they did to California, Manny. They flooded it with legal aliens, and it went from red to blue.
Yep.
And that's what they're trying to do. I mean, folks, right before your eyes. Yet you got all these pandering politicians that are throwing out these little scraps off the table. Go away, doggy, shut up and leave me alone so I can get rich and I can stay in power and I can continue having my parties and snorting another line of cocaine or whatever it is that they do up there, bro. I mean, it's crazy,
and
man.
you had AOC out there in San Antonio the other day talking about it's inevitable that Texas is going to go blue, and people cheering. I mean, and I'm just not talking about a few hundred people. I'm talking about there was a few thousand people there cheering, and Francis O'Rourke,
he gets his crowds too. But I kind of tend to, I deviated there a little bit. Look, we got folks right now that are living under the fear of their jobs, their future, their pensions, etc., because it's still hanging over their heads, bro. Right now, Customs and Border Protection, they're being told, they're gonna get jabbed. That still hasn't gone away for these guys. Talk about stress upon stress, bro. And they're still being told, you're gonna have to mandatory. Now, I know that there's some court cases that have been going on and some reprieves or whatever, but a lot of these people file their religious exemptions, and it's sad, bro, that they'll honor the other people, but our American Christians, American people of faith that have filed for religious exemptions, that's being disregarded.
Yeah.
That's on the wayside. It's either you do as we say, or you're going to end up probably looking for another job, and that's a first.
And not just Christians. I've been contacted by Jewish service members, Jewish employees with CBP, and it's interesting to me, Frank, because they get back to me and they say that their religious exemption is being evaluated, right, to see if it's authentic.
Yeah.
But
I remember the questionnaires, bro. How many, and the suggestions were, right on there. How many times a day do you pray? How often do you, practice your religion? How many times a day do you read your Bible? How many times a day do you do acts of good and, show your spirituality to other people? What the heck, bro? That's a litmus test. Remember,
it is a litmus test.
It's a religious test, and this is America. That's
unconstitutional,
bro.
Yeah.
So that's still ongoing. There's still a lot of people concerned about that. How all that's going to happen, and not only that, get the jab, wear your mask, kind of stuff, but all that they're holding a gun to their heads about their jobs and their pensions and retirement, etc., bro.
Yeah.
As they're fixing to repeal about the irony. Title 42, Centers for Disease Control, dealing with the pandemic, to stop the spread of
something you think that the Democrats would be in favor of.
yeah, and
right?
so they're going to lift it to let all these people come in with God knows who. There's a video somebody threw out there. They're all coughing and hacking away and everything. And the guy rightfully says, well, tuberculosis, COVID, I mean,
dengue fever.
Cold? Well, what is that coughing all that cold? They're going to let all these people come across, but yet, oh yeah, you folks dealing with it, you mandatorily gotta get the vaccine, mandatorily gotta wear a mask.
And yet it's already been proven, Frank, that people with the vaccine and with all these boosters, they're still getting sick. And not only that, but we have agents that are getting sick. I think the count is like there's 12 agents per day on the average that are out here in this area.
And the test, that's the other thing, the mandatory nose scrape, shove that thing up in your brain and scrape around a bit.
Which is had some.
There's some issues with that, man. I think some of those tests were proven to be faulty. They weren't giving true readings. They're full of chemicals themselves. And
they got their family members now that they're getting sick. Children getting sick. The ramifications are crazy, and it's amazing to me that when we see this influx of illegal immigration here in Del Rio, all of a sudden the hospital or the city releases these stats of all these COVID cases going up, and then when crossings go down, the stats go down. But folks, the ramifications is going to be terrible if this Title 42 goes away in May. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of other stuff we can talk about in regards to this
for hours and
folks,
hours.
For hours and hours today. But folks, we're going to have to get going. But in the meantime, I just want to throw up our website here real quick, tacoboutlive.com. You can go over there and email us your concerns and whatnot. And I'm sorry we had some audio difficulties in the beginning. There's a lot of echo from what I was understanding, Frank, and we were able to fix like halfway through.
You did?
Yeah. So hopefully they get the majority of the program here today. Also, let me go real quick to Frank's website. Frank,
hey, thanks. Appreciate it.
Frank4cd23.com. You can go over there to his website. You can donate. You can help him out. You can see how young he looks right there in that.
A pollito, that's in Spanish, a pollito. Little chick.
Yeah, that was I think back in like 2003, right? Oh, there's me raising the flag.
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, that's when I had all my hair. So anyway, that was pretty good time, and so
flashback.
Yeah, big time flashback. So, folks, you can go and support him. You can even help support this program. We also have a donate button on our website as well. If you want to keep things going, we would appreciate it. There's a lot of work that goes into this program.
And effort, man.
Yeah, a lot of time and effort that goes into bringing this program to you guys, and so we truly appreciate it. But Frank, you got any closing?
Hey guys, so just remember, look, it looks bleak, it looks dark, but God's people have armor of light. Put on that armor of light. We have the mind of Christ. We have His living word. Get into it daily, multiple times a day. Put your trust in the Creator God. He is in control. It looks crazy and such, but look, this is our temporary home. We have an eternal home, but in the meantime, we have to defend our home. We have to be concerned about the condition of what's going on. But at the end of the day, spend time with God, pray, and make sure that you don't allow the seeds of hate and anger. Yeah, we can be upset, angry, passionate about it.
It's okay to be angry, but don't sin.
But don't sin. And so I just wanted to say that thanks to everybody that watches, that follows, that shares. We need to get the word out. We will try to be as frequently as we can. Try to get out there, show you what's happening. Let me just put it this way. If you go look at our videos and you see the people coming across, just magnify that a couple dozen times. Yeah. It's going to get bad.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. But folks, thanks, Frank. You got to, trust in the Lord. Messiah's returning, and we put our faith and our trust in Him. And one day, all this will be, done and over with, and when the Messiah returns. But folks, be encouraged. And we'll hopefully, God willing, we'll talk to you soon next week. Taco Tuesday, 8 a.m., Tacobout Live with Frank and Manny. Thank you for joining us. God bless you. God bless America. And God bless Texas.
Let me go shut up.